Hey, it's Brian here. So on January 1st, people often do New Year's resolutions, but in this video, I'm going to propose another activity that I think is way more beneficial and also cuts to the core of what your goals should center around also. So the pushback I have against New Year's resolutions on the first of the year is that it is outward, inward focused. It's focused on the outward thing, the goal, and not the inward, your motivations, inspirations in life, and what is important to you. So it's not a surprise, honestly, that often people weeks into the year may give up on their goal once they understand that it is not a goal that is true to their internal core self. Right, so this activity that I'm talking about is some that I'm advocating for each individual out there to do on the first. And I mentioned this activity in a previous Raising an Ace video that I did too. So every year on January 1st for an hour, we're going to ask these, make a list of what gives you purpose and joy. So that's it, pretty much. You just want to create a purpose list. And you want to ask yourself questions such as, what is important to me? What gives me joy? What gives me purpose? And these questions too, they should be easier to answer than, what are my resolutions? Because it really hits to the core of who you are, pretty much. And I would say that all joys are purposes in that the purpose of this activity is to have fun. And I would also say that in the long run, all purposes are joy because they lead to contentment. But of course, the distinction is purposes in the short run might be in disguise of hard work. They might not be fun. So it's like you need to understand that sometimes in life, you need to do something like study for a test or work out that is not joyful in the short run, but it's a sacrifice for something down the road. So that's why it's really important, I believe, to frame it in terms of purpose and joy. I think it's helpful to see things in that light. And it's like, look, if your goal is like to exercise a certain amount per week, you gotta really think hard, like, does this fall under a purpose or joy? Are you having fun doing it? Or is the purpose tied to maybe a goal you have of maintaining that lifestyle or another goal? Like, really be specific with it. Maybe you'll get to the conclusion that exercising is really not something that you hold dear as a purpose, or maybe the type of workout you're doing is not the right one for you. It's like, ideally you would do all this in maybe 1 hour, and then maybe from there, then align like all your purposes and joys to your goals for the year. And it should come naturally from there too. And I would also say, don't be married to a timeline with this. So like, it could be yearly goals or maybe just weekly goals or a range of goals. I think different methods with this work for different people. So for example, for me, like, I like to break down my goals in increments of 3 to 4 months. So like, I don't like to focus on much past that. And usually like at the end of the 3 or 4 months, then I think of like, okay, what are my goals in the next 3 or 4 months from here? And then I also like to break things down from there to like week by week and then day by day. And I like to stay in my lane during like each of those times to get as much as I possibly can get done. And like, to someone else, this might seem silly and they might want to outline the whole year. So that's okay. You got to do what works for you. So I really hope that through this short video, I just challenge you to think inward to outward. You need to understand that you need to align your life with the things that give you joy and purpose. So if some activity or person in your life is not bringing you joy or purpose, you got to really think critically about cutting them out, because a life of purpose and joy is a worthwhile goal that you got to try to attain. Share the messages, share the videos.